I'm Sophia Suminger, I'm my sister, and I'm 12 years old, also from Choctaw, right?
I'm Billee Willson, and I'm Yurok, and I live in Grass Valley at this time, but I've lived here in Sacramento for 20 years prior to the 20 years I've lived in Grass Valley.
What were your favorite foods growing up?
One of my very favorite food is half-dried baked eel. I also really like, these are traditional foods, okay. I really liked surfish. We didn't get surfish very often, but I really liked it. When we would get it, it'd be about this long. You'd eat the whole thing. Delicious. I liked seaweed until I made myself sick on it because my grandmother hid it up in the closet, and I went and got bits and pieces, not knowing that it would swell up in my stomach. And I ate too much of it, and I was like, I was so sick. After that, I didn't eat seaweed for a very, very long time until I became an adult and started eating it when I eat sushi. And didn't like acorns very much, although acorns now is one of my favorite foods. And salmon, I love salmon. In any way you want to fix salmon, love salmon. And deer meat, back straps. Haven't had those.
What is a childhood memory that you cherish?
Oh, I have so many. Most of my childhood memories have to do with me being disciplined. So I'm not sure I cherish them, but I do love this one that was a direct discipline. I was in second grade when we had a huge flood on the Klamath River, and it took out many of the homes, but it didn't take our home. But when school started and flood relief started coming in, they would bring all these things into the old schoolhouse, and everybody could go in like a big rummage sale, except you could take whatever you wanted. Well, my grand said, don't go to the rummage today. And you come directly home from school. And I went to the rummage anyway. And I found this doll, this plastic doll about this big. And it was so beautiful. But when I got home, my cousin had already told her that I'd gone to the rummage. And so I come in and she's very upset with me, and she takes the doll away from me. And then she proceeded to make a doll basket and set that doll and hung it on the wall. And that doll hung on the wall my entire childhood into my youth. Don't lie to me, because I came home. Oh no, I came right home. But then I came, okay, I did, but here's a gift for you. And so that was my lesson from her. One of the memories, and again, it had the lesson built into it. It wasn't just.
What do you think the future is for the young people in the Native community today?
I think you guys have such a bright future. So much more than when I left, when I was a youth. I went from reservation life, single wide trailer, my sister, totally impoverished, lived in a house initially before we got the trailer, before the flood, that didn't have interior walls. It just had the exterior walls and newspapers strewn around the edges of it. My grand let me go to college. I left and went to Davis. And I think I probably already inferred this a bit, but there was such culture shock there. And not knowing who I was, how I would ever fit into this world. I thought, okay, my only hope is going back to the reservation, because this is just, they don't know who these people are, and they don't like me, and all those kinds of things. But I just see such a cohesiveness amongst the youth, the Native youth, as we do groups like this across America, around the world. And I think we also are more visible than we used to be, because there was a thought that we didn't exist. When I was a young woman, it was, you can't be Indian. Indians don't exist anymore. I am. We do exist. And that was kind of part of the question you asked, of, kind of moving away. Well, if I don't exist, I need to fit into this world somehow, but I just think that you have such a better chance at doing that as young people, as we have more opportunities to have events and gatherings and ceremony. All those things are not taboo anymore. There's things I wouldn't have done.
I'm Ami, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm Choctaw.
I'm Billee Willson, and I am Yurok, and I'm old.
My question for you today is, what is your advice for the youth?
My advice is that they find a path that's their path. Okay, always am looking at how we are bent by Creator, and all of us have a bent to be what we're supposed to be. And if we feed that bent, then we can become what we're supposed to be. If we fight that bent, then it's not very good life. So I always talk to them about, okay, what's your bent? Or figure out what their bent is. What is it they like doing? What is it that what feeds them? And so my advice to youth would be, find your bent and follow that bent, because Creator created you to have that as your bent, and that's what He created you to be. And you'll be a happier person in life.
Have you ever felt lost in life, or you felt a loss of identity?
I have. As a young woman, I left the reservation to go to college at Davis, and went through a huge identity crisis, huge cultural conflicts. And who am I supposed to be? And am I supposed to be this educated person? Am I supposed, all those kinds of questions came to my mind. And as I went from there, I married a non-Indian man, had my children with him, tried very hard to fit into living in that culture. Didn't last, because I always had, because I grew up on the reservation, up on the in Yurok land in Witchbeck on the Klamath River, and so all of that was in me, and so I never ever fit in these things I wanted to be or do or try to become. And so in that process, my identity was like kind of, who am I? Who am I supposed to be? Do I need to totally disregard my tribal heritage? Or do I hold on to my tribal heritage and try to live in this conflicted place I'm in? And I did that for a while. And then I moved out of that relationship and fully grasped who I was, and really enjoy all the stuff I get to do, that it's so different from the everyday. Very different, anyway.
And how did you overcome this loss of identity?
I think I went back to my dad. One day he called me a sidewalk Indian, and I went, what? And he goes, oh yeah, you can make baskets and you can do this and that, but you're still a sidewalk Indian. And I go, well, what's that mean, Dad? He goes, you forgot who you are. And I go, oh. I don't want to forget who I am. And from then on, I just made it a practice to go home as often as I could. I always say I go home in every month that starts with a vowel. So in April, August, and October. It's also times for gathering different materials and stuff. So I'd always go home and gather and learn to weave a bit. Started being involved in Native activities, Native things here in Sacramento area, and built a friendship base of people who are also Native, who I felt were part of me. We connected in a different way than I could connect with non-Native people.
What is a tradition that you cherish, or that's your favorite of yours?
I have a couple of different things that I do that are traditional. Okay, one is preparing salmon smokehouse style. And so every year I smoke, I don't know, maybe 40, 50, 60 salmon, and I can them up and have half-smoked salmon in jars and then fully smoked jerky salmon, and so that my family can have that and I can give it away as giftings and things like that. So that's one of the traditions that I follow that my grandmother taught me when I was little. Okay. She didn't teach me how to basket weave, but she did teach me how to gather the materials for the baskets. And my sister weaves. And I do that because she doesn't weave as often as she used to, but she used to weave a lot, and she's a very good weaver. And I would gather basket material for her. And anyway, so gathering basket materials is a really big thing for me as well. It's another traditional thing I like to do.